Hello and greetings. This is Ahmadzai of Ahmadzai. I'm here with a new session for you friends. Welcome to one of the latest Windows sessions. Today, we're going to talk about Photos Legacy. To open Photos Legacy, we go to the Start menu. Here, we have something called Photos Legacy, or we can go to the Start menu section. When we go to the P category, we see that Photos starts with the letter P in the P category. Here, you'll find both Photos and Photos Legacy, and as soon as you click on Photos, it opens up. But the easiest and best way is to use the section called Search. In the Search section, when we type blue, just the first two letters of Legacy, it will open Photos Legacy for us. From the first part of its name, we type Photo. But there's a problem with that. When we do that, if we type P, it will search for PowerPoint. If we add two more letters, for example like POTO, it still doesn't go to Photos Legacy, it goes to Photos. So what do? Instead of using its name, we use its abbreviation and type its letter. We open this, and as soon as we click inside, we enter the interface.
Whenever we find ourselves navigating within this particular section, specifically when we are operating inside the designated collection, it is of paramount importance to understand that the very first and most crucial action we undertake is to initiate this specific procedure. This initial step is fundamental to ensuring the proper functioning and integrity of the entire process that follows. By prioritizing this action, we establish a foundational baseline that allows for subsequent operations to proceed smoothly and without unforeseen complications. This methodical approach is designed to prevent potential errors, streamline workflows, and ultimately contribute to the overall efficiency and accuracy of our work within this specialized environment. Therefore, regardless of the specific task at hand, our immediate focus upon entering this section and collection is always to execute this preliminary action, setting the stage for all subsequent activities and ensuring a robust and reliable operational sequence. We've given you three methods. So here, we can import the folder of photos or the folder of videos. We can import them here. The first method is that we go to this section. Here, we have something called Name. Copy from folder or copy from a connected device. For example, if you want to import from a flash drive, or from your phone, or from a camera, or from any other device, you just need to click. From a connected device, for example, the things you see here could be a flash drive, a camera, or a tablet. If we want, we can import, or we can choose not to. For example, from inside the computer itself, right now we're on the computer, on this PC, we select a folder, like the Photos folder or the Videos folder. You always click on Import Items, and as you can see, it almost shows you all the photos here to select. Okay, I select it. I can select all items, or I could have selected them one by one, or select them by date. Here, I say no, just select all the photos. For example, if we select all the photos, delete original items. Earlier when we import photos here, original item stays as is. Meaning the original range wherever it was, anywhere else, it stays the same. But if we select this option here, delete original items, so when you copy them, it deletes the originals from where they were. The first way is that we can import from here, but if you want to import a folder of photos, the second way is to go to this section. In the category called Folder, you have to go here and click on Add a Folder. In this section, it clearly shows your recent folders, so you can easily see the folders you've previously imported and worked with. After that, you specify the address, for example, let's say from the desktop. We have a folder called Animal in Pets. Select the folder, and then I click Add Folder for it. Now you see, a folder named Animal in Pets has appeared here. When you add the folder, after that, the entire collection of images will be available to you. The timeline here starts from 2021, but for me, it begins from 2024. And from there up to its very first image, which for example was captured back in 2006. The timeline also shows their dates. If we open the collection, it's not empty inside. It shows the folders or the categories of images in the folder. So, in the end, we can add several folders here. The way we can bring in folders is by going to this section. So, we have settings here, and then add folder source, include more folders. Okay, we click Add Folder, and the process is the same as before. Either we select from here or, since we've already brought it in, it's easier to choose. This time, when we add the folder gets added here, and after that, you'll see that the folder copy also appears here, and in the end, what happens here? It gets displayed after adding the folder. If we want, we can't, for example, come here and delete the images from here, either one at a time or all at once. At the same time, we also can't right-click here and delete this folder. If we want to remove it from here, it only gets added, so even if we delete it from here, we can't delete this folder that we've added. But there's one way left. Go into Settings. From where we added it, down here, there's something we have. So, if you want to remove, for example, 3 or 4 folders here, you just click here. This folder gets added and then removed again. That means, to remove it, we also have another way from before. But for adding it, whether you brought it in through Import, or through Add Folder, or through Settings, for removing it, it's the same. There's only one way to do it. Alright, after entering the collection here, as we said, you can view it in chronological order. The files that were created in 2020, the files that were created in 2020, in 2020 there are 5 photos, in 2023 there are 33 photos and videos, so you can view them chronologically. Here, Seeger asks us how to view the files. Should it be by recently added? That is, based on the most recently added files, according to the latest files you've added. For example, if I add another folder after this one, it will show that one first, and then this one after. But if you don't want it like that, you can view it by date, for example, by the date it was taken or captured, just like before when it shows them in chronological order. This top section is an advertisement area. It shows us ads, gives us some information, and sometimes displays promotional announcements for you. So, this top part, you can also hide it if you want. For example, if you click here, you can hide it so it doesn't show, or you can leave it as is. Then, in a similar way, it always suggests a few topics to you as suggestions. If you don't want that, you can also hide the category. The photos shown here, what size do you want them to be? Do you want them to be large, medium, or, like before, small? What we had, you can choose to display it based on which date. Okay, after this topic, after the collection section. For example, if we're searching for a photo, first, we can, for instance, filter the photos based on, besides just typing the name. Like, by which letter? If it's written, you can search by name, but if you don't want to search by name. For example, if you want to say, let's say, photos based on category, it shows them very well. We said, for instance, these are in that category and it brought them up. Like sky, for example, photos where the sky is more visible. In short, it filters the photos based on that, whatever it is that we want. For example, aquarium, photos that are in that aquarium, meaning we try to filter them. Based on different topics, meaning besides the name, we can also search if we check the expectation. For example, nature, or the sea, or winter, photos that have been taken a lot in snow and rain, what does it do with those? It searches them for you. For instance, these photos that we have displayed, like different things, like cats or ducks, for example. For example, in the photos where we have ducks in this category, it basically filters them, based on the titles of the topics that we have. But these titles, every time we enter this section, we see that they also change. It tries to automatically update them for you. In the Things and Place section, as you can see, people, things, places, it can search for several things. But you see that these titles change every time, depending on the topics we've searched for. After this section, we have something else for you. It's called New. In the New section, what do we have? There are a few things related to video, which I'll explain for you again in the video editor section. One of them is New Project, which means when you click it, it takes you into the video editor. A new project means a new page with a new account, You have to go into it and create your own slides there. It opens a new page and calls it New Project. For example, if I click on it now, wait, I'll take you into the video editor, and I'll go into it myself. It takes us to New Videos or New Project. Okay, then it asks what the name should be. We'll learn about that in its place, whenever we work with the video editor or anything else. Automatic videos. For example, you select 4, 5, or 6 photos, and without having to go in and manually set the movement or choose animation yourself. You just specify some things for it overall, like which photo. For example, you select a few photos. Like a slideshow, for example. You can have these photos automatically made into something, and then you can go to the new section and, for example, click on Automatic Videos. That means it will automatically create a comprehensive and engaging slideshow for us entirely by itself, without requiring any manual intervention or adjustments from our side. This remarkable feature eliminates the need for us to meticulously make any changes to the movements, the intricate animations, or indeed anything else that typically goes into crafting a polished presentation. It intelligently and automatically generates a complete visual narrative directly from these selected photos, saving us considerable time and effort. Therefore, having seen its capabilities, I have now closed this particular window for the time being. Of course, you could also save it. For example, we saw it created a slideshow, titled it, and automatically added animation. It even applied music on its own, basically did everything by itself. All we had to do was click OK and finish, save it, and that's it, from the photos we had selected. It created a slideshow all by itself. And we didn't have to make any changes to it at all, even though normally we do all that work ourselves, set the timing, add music, give it a title. We can have a slide at the beginning, for example, with a title, some text, or a summary that we create ourselves. But honestly, if you don't have time to do it manually, you can just select it and it will automatically create a slideshow for you. And if you have data saved in OneDrive, you can also import a file from there. But that's only if it has been saved as a backup. And there's something called an album. We can create an album for you, either from here or from this section, which is actually our next lesson, or we can come here and tell it to create an album, new album, or we can just call it an app from here. Basically, both ways do the same thing, no matter which way we do it. When we click on it, it gives us an option like this to select. For example, when you select one or two items, it gives you several options here. We selected it just now. We worked on it earlier. We already told you about the import section before. Where do we want to get the file from? When we go to the plus section, that's where we bring it in. You can tell it, for example, if you want to make a video clip or create a photo album, that is, a folder of photos, and as I mentioned about the new album, we work from there, and for the video, we work in the video track section. There's also a share option if you want. For example, we can share it with someone. With these apps, as you can see, there's a section called Print. If we want to print a photo, well, we've already worked on this before. We have the Copy section and also the Delete section. For now, we don't want to use these, so I'll hit Cancel. After selecting, as you saw earlier, we worked with the Import command, and there's also Sign In. If we want to sign in using a Microsoft account, we need to have internet. After that, once we're signed in on mine, if there's internet, it will show this on mine. Right now, it's saying offline. Then OneDrive will be activated, and we can upload our files to OneDrive. In this section, when we click, we have our buttons, and for this, we use Refresh. Just like we have Restart, there's also Slideshow. When we click on it, the slideshow of the photos starts for us. We can't change the timing, it goes with its own default timing. If we want to exit, we just press the Escape key to leave the slideshow. After that, we have Feedback. You know that feedback is for contacting the center if you want to give feedback. And we have Settings, which I'll explain to you in a few minutes. After the Collection section, there's the Album section. For example, here your photos are grouped. It's organized based on the date they were taken. It's organized chronologically by date. Here, if you want, you can create a folder, an album. You can separate everything into categories. It will show them all together in one place, so you can see them at a glance. So what do we do? In the Albums section, there's a Favorites folder by default. So, let's say I want to create a new album for myself. How do I do that? For example, I'll show you how to make an album for a specific purpose, so here we select it. Those photos that we have in our category, well, there are quite a lot of them. So, I've selected a few of them, and after that, what do we do here? First, you can set the display here. See which view it shows you. The thumbnail view is better, it looks clearer. Here, 2, you can have the photos shown by date. Then we click here, Create. For example, we click on the Create section here. For example, it tells you that you've selected 6 photos, which will be saved on this date. What should you name this album? I click here, and let's say I name it My Cats. That's it. If it's named My Cats. Here, we have an album of photos, aside from the fact that in the collection, it shows all of them together. But if we want to open our folders based on categories, not just generally, in this category, only the photos of those cats we selected should be here. And here, they show up as thumbnails, and you can choose them in different shapes and forms. It even creates a full screen album for you with music and everything, and also makes an album in the timeline. But the album that's in slideshow format, and those ones, we can work with them separately if we want. For example, inside this album, it already has a few photos, 6 items. If we want to add 1 or 2 more photos later, for example, if you want to, you just click here. Now, let me show you. There should be 7 photos saved there. Let's check our album right now. 7 items. So, we should have about 7 photos there. That means we had the album before, and we added more photos to it. Earlier, when we worked, we created the album and added the photos. If we don't want to, we can share it or change the cover photo. When you go inside, the photos you see are a separate matter, but this way, it also has its own cover photo. It's like a folder. It has its own cover, just like a folder does. If you want to change the cover photo of this folder we have, I can also change the cover photo. For example, I tell it that from this week's photos, among these, we want this photo to be the cover photo, so we set it to that. Or, the cover photo is set to a default. From this to that, a photo is assigned, and inside, it shows the photos separately, which is a different matter. But the photo that is set as the default in this place is the cover for this. We select it using the Change Cover Photo option. Otherwise, if we don't want it, we can select this album and choose Delete, and in the end, it will be removed from the album. After this, we have a section called People. This People section used to work in previous versions. For example, based on face grouping, it would identify people. Here, the computer's camera would activate. Depending on the folder, the camera would look at each person's photos and focus on the images of those people. It was a feature that, since it wasn't being used, they removed it by disabling the folder. So, this was the section I mentioned earlier that we worked on. Here, the only thing we do differently is right-click, and I'll explain a setting related to that for you. So, here, when we right-click, as we saw, we read the Delete option. You can also see Share, Copy, Print, and Add to Favorite. Well, this Favorite section adds it for you, and in this version, the favorite is right here inside this folder, and it gets added here. The favorite we worked on in the previous version would be added somewhere else, and it would show a small icon to indicate that it's inside the folder. You can add this photo to the folder, or you can add it to a slideshow. For example, if you've made a slideshow or a collection of photos or videos, you can include a photo in it, and it will do that for you. Change Date lets you change the date the photo was captured, if you want to modify it. Open in File Explorer means it opens the source location for you, and Open in Folder means it opens the folder section we worked on. The folder is shown here, and you can open it from there. After this section, we have the Settings section. In Settings, there are a few options we can work with. Earlier, we worked on how to bring in a folder and how to delete it. Let me tell you another way. From here, you could do it. Viewing and editing, often, if you have duplicate photos here, meaning photos that are copies, like on your phone when you get a message saying you have 5 to 6 duplicate photos in your gallery, delete them because they're copies. If you select this option, it usually tries to link the duplicates together and merge them. Also, whenever you delete a photo, a confirmation box appears asking if you want to delete it or not. If this is turned off, it won't show that. We turn this on, as we did in the previous version. And that option I mentioned earlier, called People, is off by default and doesn't work. We leave it off. I worked on this for you in the previous features. Earlier, in the Photos section, if we select this, it will show us the next and previous photos, and if we select the other one, it will zoom in and out. There's also Appearance. By default, Appearance does different things. First, it tells us that this section, which is the tile, instead of this, for example, which photos should be shown here or what should be displayed. If we select this, for example, recent photo, it will show the last photo that was opened there, the last photo we opened. Or if we choose favorite, it will display any photo that's in the favorites there. If we say no, we want a photo that we select ourselves, then from single photo, we choose which photo. For example, I tell it to show this specific photo, like this one, and it will display it there. Now, if we go here, it will display a photo here, instead of what was there before. Well, earlier I told you that when this is set to fall, turn life tiles off. If you do that, then it won't show up. This needs to be on. In both cases, it was showing in the game. You select something, and what should its default mode be? Should it be light, dark, or work according to the system? If you choose dark, the next time you go into it, it should open in dark mode. So we go back to settings and say, we'll choose according to our own preference. If you set it to light, close it once, and open it, it becomes light. It turns bright, and you can set it according to your Windows settings. If it was dark, it becomes dark. If it was light, it becomes light. I'll set it to light for now. Second, here it tells us, for example, if we're inside an account in OneDrive, should it automatically generate a folder or not? For example, if it generates a folder, these are the options. Hardware acceleration. What is hardware acceleration for this feature? On computers where, for example, we usually don't have a GPU. We don't have a graphical processing unit. Whenever we work with video, graphics, or images, usually the computer gets under a lot of pressure because of it. Tomorrow, we'll also be working in the video section. We'll see that when we bring in a few videos, this turns into a slideshow. Especially when we save it, the process of saving, what they call encoding, when it encodes, it takes a lot of time, especially if our laptop doesn't have a GPU, doesn't have dedicated RAM, and is working slowly. When we turn this on, it takes even longer. It tries during the time our video is in the encoding phase when we save a video. As it's being encoded, it tries to make sure the processor doesn't do anything else in this phase. It cancels all other tasks. All the power is left just for this. It brings all the processor's power for this video encoding. And finally, dear friends, if our videos have been useful for you,
To support us, please like the videos, subscribe to the channel, and see you in the next sessions. Goodbye.